Welcome back, everybody, to the Insightful Podcast. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. Today's episode is going to be about why identity is a trap and how to escape it. Before we get into it, remember that if you guys have been enjoying the podcast, like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on Spotify. Without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. You guys know how I like to do it. 5 points, go over them in a bit of detail, and you could take this wisdom from this video and apply it to your life right now. The first point is you are not your labels. Introvert, go-getter, black sheep. Labels help you fit in, but they can also box you in. You're allowed to evolve. This is so important. You know, a lot of us like to identify ourselves with labels. And this was me. For the longest time, especially in high school, I'd always consider myself an introvert, right? And when you consider yourself an introvert, people say, oh, it's a good thing. You like getting work done on your own. You like just being to yourself more than you like being around people. But what this does to you is it doesn't allow you to have those extrovert skills and being able to communicate in a group and being able to be social because you box yourself in to this identity of an introvert, right? And I think I used to, enjoy having that. I used to, respect that about myself, that, oh, I was an introvert and, oh, I'm more to myself and I don't need anyone. But I think it's very bad to have that mindset because once again, there's moments where being an introvert could be a good thing. You're not seeking constant validation from others. But where it does box you in is opportunities where maybe you could have networked with someone that could have helped you in your journey, or you could have went to this social gathering and you didn't go because you felt nervous because you have this identity of yourself, and then something great could have come from that opportunity, but you don't allow yourself to do it, right? So I think it's super important not to label yourself, that there is certain aspects of who you are that are true, but never box yourself into just one singular label. The next point is your ego hates change. Once you identify with something, your brain resists anything that threatens it, even if growth is on the other side. And going back to my previous example of being an introvert, it took me a while to erase that from my mind and to allow myself to not identify with that label anymore, because there's so much resistance. Because when you tell yourself you're something for so long, if you tell yourself you're a lazy person, like, this is the worst thing you could do in my opinion. Never say I'm a lazy person, because that is the worst identity you can have, because with laziness you can't grow, you can't chase after things, you can't try hard at new things that you might want to achieve. It's the worst identity you can have, is calling yourself a lazy person. But the problem is that if you kind of wired your brain into thinking that you're actually a lazy person, it's going to take you a lot of hard work and a lot of self-development in order to reverse that work that you told yourself, that I'm a lazy person. So I think, that your ego hates change, and that before you kind of identify with these labels, maybe if you think right now that you don't have any labels that are holding you back, try your best not to fall into this trap, because then it's like your ego doesn't allow you to change this right away. It's not something that you could fix with the snap of your fingers. And if you can't do that, it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of wasted time to come back from it, right? The next point is comfort isn't clarity. Sometimes we cling to an identity because it feels safe, not because it's true. Familiar isn't always authentic. And this is a reality, is like growing up in like elementary school, I was a very social person. I was friends with everyone. I talked to everyone. I wasn't nervous around people. But then for some reason, high school came around and I developed this identity of being an introvert and being shy and nervous around new people and new conversations. And this helped me in no way. This didn't help me at all, right? And to go away from being an introvert and having that kind of mindset towards myself, it wasn't comfortable. But like I just said, familiar things aren't authentic. You may be dabbling in something or doing something that you think is you, but it's not. Just because you're doing it frequently and it's a new habit for you, you think it's authentic, but it's not authentic, right? So I think it's super important that you realize that comfort isn't clarity, and you staying in the same position or doing the same things isn't helping you and isn't actually who you are. It's just something you do. The next point is, who you were isn't who you have to be. Just because you've always been that guy or that girl doesn't mean you can't rewrite the narrative, right? You can identify yourself as a shy person or as someone who likes to stick to themselves, but you don't have to always be that way. Don't think that who you are right now and your identity and how people perceive you is how it has to be the rest of your life. You need to understand that you only have one life to live, and this one experience that you have right now is the only one you'll ever have. So why would you limit yourself to thinking that I can't change, I can't be someone new, I can't reinvent myself? It's the stupidest thing, the stupidest mindset you could have right now is thinking that you have to be this way for the rest of your life. So you don't always have to be who you once were. You could become something different. You could be born new, whatever you want to say, however cringe that sounds, but it's the truth. You don't have to identify with this version of yourself for the rest of your life. You could be more, you could be better. You could not fall into the same bad habits. You cannot make the same mistakes. You could become the best version of yourself. It is all within your power. The last and final point is detach to rebuild. The escape. Let go. Step back. Question who you've been told you are and choose who you want to become. Because a lot of the times these labels and this identity comes from what other people say about you, and you just reinforce it. But you need to remember that if you detach from this identity and you rebuild upon who you want to actually be, you could become a new version of yourself. You don't have to remain the same. So I think that's super important that you recognize that, my friend, and that you realize that who you are right now doesn't have to be who you are forever. And don't let your current identity trap you, because that's not who you are if you want to become something new. Thank you for making it this far. And that's kind of all the things I wanted to go over in this podcast. If you guys enjoyed the episode, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know any other future topics you'd like me to discuss in the future. We gain insight in order to move forward in life. Take care, everybody, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Rush a cold to a diamond, eyes forever shining. Your beauty alone inspire a nigga to rhyming.